iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Show. FullTimeFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Full-Time Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto, get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. All right, we've got some major news today. I can't even say it enough. First of all, Ben Roethlisberger from the Pittsburgh Steelers is out with season-ending elbow surgery. He left the game. We saw Mason Rudolph came in. They committed to the Steelers committed to Rudolph this year. Josh Dobbs is not there anymore. Mason Rudolph will be the quarterback. He was the heir apparent. We knew that. But he's apparently going to be in there now. So that's one. Two, Drew Brees out 6 weeks with a torn thumb ligament. That's huge. I think the Brees injury is worse in some ways than the Roethlisberger injury. Because I think Mason Rudolph is actually, dare I say, a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater. I have zero faith in Teddy Bridgewater. I actually have some faith in Mason Rudolph. I liked him at Oklahoma State. He's got good size. He's got good strength. He's played with James Washington. He's not afraid to throw the ball deep. He's an aggressive guy. I like him. I think that there's talent there. I won't call this a quarterback controversy, but I think the Steelers will not be in a big ditch with Rudolph. I do think that the Saints are in trouble. Luckily, the Saints have a run game. All right, let's start breaking down week 2, and we'll preview the Browns game. And let's get it started with the Bills against the Giants. Josh Allen just looking as strong as ever. 253 yards passing and a passing touchdown, 21 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown. I told you guys this was a Frank Gore week. I was right. He had 19 carries out of 34. That's a huge amount. This was when they're winning, Frank Gore is getting the football. Okay? When they're losing, Devin Singletary will get the football. So you got to watch this on a week-to-week basis. The Giants are very bad up the middle. Cole Beasley had 83 yards on 4 receptions. John Brown, they brought him in to be a number 1 receiver. He is a number 1 receiver. He had 7 receptions on 8 targets. If you have Zay Jones right now, you may need to say goodbye to him because he's not very good. For the Giants, it's just a matter of time for Eli Manning to be gone. I mean, look, is it Eli's fault? Probably not. He's throwing to Benny Fowler and T.J. Jones and Cody Latimer. So, I mean, where's Sterling Shepard? Where's Golden Tate? It's not entirely his fault, but look, the Giants are done. It's over. The season's over. All right, I'm a Giant fan. I'm telling you that. It's done. So why not just bring in Jones? Let Jones and Barkley be in there. If it's going to be inevitable, let it inevitably happen now. That's just one man's opinion about that. And I think I'm right. I do. I think I'm right. I think that if I'm the Giants, I need to move on. Okay, speaking of moving on, New England at the Miami Dolphins. Tom Brady, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sony Michel, welcome back. This was a Sony Michel week. 21 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown. This was not a James White week. There will be James White weeks. This was not one of them. You're beating up on Miami. You know they're going to run the ball. So I also knew that Antonio Brown was going to score a touchdown. I told you guys as much. I liked Brown over Edelman this week. They wanted to get Brown into the game flow. He got 8 targets. That was all done by design. All done by design. For Miami, I don't even know what to tell you anymore. I just don't even know. Kenyon Drake doesn't want to be there. I mean, maybe they can move him for something. I got to believe some team, maybe Tampa, would give him some for him. I got to think so. The rest of the team is terrible. I do like Preston Williams a little bit, but what's the upside there? This guy... Josh Rosen and Ryan Fitzpatrick are throwing him the ball. That can't be a good thing. All right, speaking of a good thing, there was a good quarterback battle in Baltimore yesterday. Kyler Murray, 349 yards. Lamar Jackson, 272 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson also ran for 120 yards. Now, I love me Lamar Jackson, but maybe the better word is however. He played Miami and he played Arizona. It doesn't get any better than that. So I love Lamar Jackson, but let's not erect a statue of him just yet. We need to see him against better defenses. But for Baltimore, Mark Ingram had 47 yards. Mark Andrews is just a beast. 8 for 112 and a touchdown. Marquise Brown, real deal. 13 targets, 8 for 86. How good is he? For Arizona, David Johnson got injured at some point, but he came back. Christian Kirk played very well, 6 for 114. That was what we were hoping for all year. Larry Fitzgerald, 5 for 104, played very well. So, look, I think Christian Kirk will get more confident. The key for me, though, is Kyler Murray needs to run a little bit more. 3 carries for 4 yards was not the way we envisioned it. It's just not. It's not the way we envisioned it. We envisioned it that he was going to be like Lamar Jackson, but we haven't seen that yet. All right, San Francisco against Cincinnati. You'll look at the numbers for Andy Dalton. Like 311, 2 touchdowns. He stunk. He's terrible. John Ross with a late touchdown. Tyler Boyd, 10 for 122. 10 receptions on 10 targets. Doesn't get much better than that. Joe Mixon probably shouldn't have been out there. Hopefully you didn't play him. 11 carries on 17 yards. He was not healthy. Jimmy Garoppolo, though, 17 for 25, 297 yards and 3 touchdowns. Some big plays there. Matt Breida looked good. Raheem Mostert looked good. Jeff Wilson had 2 touchdowns. The problem with trading for any of the 49ers is that you just don't know which guy is going to be good each week. They had 42 carries, right? The problem is also that it happens with the receivers too. Deebo Samuel, Marquise Goodwin. Where is Dante Pettis? So the only guy that you know is going to be good is George Kittle. Outside of George Kittle, you don't know anything, and that's the problem. Be careful there. Okay, the Chargers against the Detroit Lions. The Lions win this game. The Lions should really be 2-0 at this point. I won't call it a great 2-0, but 2-0 it is. Matthew Stafford, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Kerryon Johnson, not bad. I think I'm a little bit worried about this Chargers run defense, and now they lost their safety. Adrian Phillips, he's out. After losing Derwin James, this is an issue. I think the Chargers defense is an issue. I might be dropping them. Kerryon Johnson had 41 yards rushing. He had 47 yards receiving. Kenny Golladay, why do we always overlook this guy? This guy has real deal, 117 yards and a touchdown. For Los Angeles, Rivers was good, but where are the touchdowns? 293 yards, but where are the touchdowns? Eckler, still a good game. Justin Jackson, 7 carries. Keenan Allen was on fire, 8 for 98 with 15 targets. I was wrong about Mike Williams. I thought he wouldn't be used that much, but it was great to see him there because I was worried that Mike Williams was going to be out for the year. After his knee thing. So I was ecstatic to see that. All right, you know that I called Devontae Adams having a good game. I thought Aaron Jones and Adams, remember recency bias, people hate guys who screwed them the week before. Aaron Rodgers, only 209 yards and 2 touchdowns. But look, he's playing the Vikings. Devontae Adams, 106 yards. Who is the second receiver? Geronimo Allison? Marquez Valdes-Scantling? It's very sketchy there. What's even sketchier is Minnesota. How bad is Kirk Cousins? If Dalvin Cook goes down for any length of time, I don't know, because Kirk Cousins, man, his quarterback rating was 52.9. That is bad. And I worry about Adam Thielen. I worry about Stephon Diggs. I have some fears there. So Dalvin Cook is tremendous, and he is a terrific football player. But without him, and he is very injury prone. So I'm just throwing it out there. I have a little fear about the Vikings. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Okay, the Texans against the Jaguars. So this always happens. Some guy, people on Twitter. So I really don't like answering questions on Twitter. I used to do it in the beginning of my career, and I do it less and less now because people are idiots. Some guy sends me a thing, should I start Deshaun Watson? I said yes. And then Deshaun Watson doesn't do well, and the guy writes back, bad advice. He's freaking Deshaun Watson. What am I going to do, tell you to bench him? He's Deshaun Watson. At any point, he could have 3 touchdowns and run 1 in. So am I wrong that he had a bad game? Maybe. Does that mean you shouldn't have played him? No. You drafted Deshaun Watson to play him. You don't play Mitch Trubisky. Carlos Hyde, 20 carries and 90 yards. But look, I got to give credit to Jacksonville. They held Hopkins in check. They held Will Fuller in check. They held everybody in check. They played very well. And up until the end there, Gardner Minshew did a decent job. 231 yards passing, 56 yards rushing. DJ Chark played well. Chris Conley played well. My biggest problem with what the Jaguars did, I had no problem with them going for the 2-point conversion. I just didn't like the play call. I don't want to give it to Leonard Fournette. I want to put the ball in Minshew's hands and do an RPO. That's what I want. But I do have some concern about D.D. Westbrook. 5 targets, 1 reception. Just throwing it out there. It should be a lot better than that, but we haven't seen it be a lot better than that. All right, Seattle beat Pittsburgh. We mentioned about Mason Rudolph. Played very well. Had 2 touchdowns. But let's talk about some other thing. James Conner going in for a knee MRI today. So that the Steelers could, and I say could, I didn't say will, they could lose Ben Roethlisberger and James Conner today. It's possible. If that happens, you pick up Jalen Samuels immediately, and you pick up Benny Snell immediately. Benny Snell is legit. I watched this guy play at Kentucky. I like him. I do. I like him. And I think he would do a very good job for the Steelers. He runs like Conner. Juju and Vance McDonald played well, but the rest of it was nobody did anything. Dante Moncrief, 1 target. Seriously. Not good enough. James Washington, 3 targets. How do you like that for your 9th round pick? For Seattle, let's talk about this for a second. Seattle's defense is not good. It is not good. Russell Wilson's going to have to play at a high level, which he did yesterday. 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rashad Penny, look, I like Chris Carson, but Rashad Penny looks pretty darn good to me. He looks pretty fast to me. So I know people didn't want to draft him there because they liked Carson. I think Penny's real deal. Tyler Lockett, 10 for 79. And DK Metcalf, I may be wrong about this guy. 3 for 61 and a touchdown. Will Dissly, somebody's going to go out and pick him up for 2 touchdowns. It's not that he's good. It's that the Steelers are not very good defensively. I've mentioned that too, right? 2 very well-coached teams, Indianapolis and Tennessee. 2 very well-coached teams. But I want to talk about something interesting. Last year, people loved Jordan Wilkins. People loved Jordan Wilkins. And then he went on and did nothing. Marlon Mack had the big year. But now Jordan Wilkins had 5 carries for 82 yards. Even though the guy at the Andrew Siciliano was calling him Jordan Watson. You're close, dude. You're off, though. But if Wilkins can get in there and get 5 or 6 carries a game, that's going to be special. He played at Ole Miss. People were comparing him to Arian Foster last year. Do you remember that? So that's a name we want to file away. We like that. T.Y. Hilton did well. Eric Ebron, I'm just disappointed. The rest of it, Rodgers, Doyle, Campbell, Hines, they're not throwing the ball that much. They're just not. They're running the ball more, which is why they're just trying to protect Jacoby Brissett. For Tennessee, Mariota did what Mariota does. He throws the ball about 30 times for 150 yards, and Derrick Henry's the offense, but no receiver is good. Which receiver do you want for fantasy? Corey Davis? I think the only guy I want there is Delaney Walker. That's it. All right, Dallas against Washington. Dak Prescott, man, he has been special. 269 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, ran for 69 yards. Just so you know, Michael Gallup is dealing with an MRI on his knee as well, so we'll have to watch that closely. Maybe Devin Smith comes in and he provides some interest there. Randall Cobb, of course, it might be a sexy player at this point, or they're just going to have to lean on Amari Cooper. Got to go to him over and over again. Zeke, 23 carries, 111 yards, and a touchdown. For Washington, Case Keenum does what Case Keenum does. He doesn't suck. He's not very good. He's holding the spot. He's a placeholder until Dwayne Haskins comes in. I do like Terry McLaurin a whole lot. He's an absolute starter. And I like Chris Thompson. I like Trey Quinn. Outside of that, I don't really like anybody. I was happy to see Peterson get the touchdown, but you really can't rely on him. The Chiefs against the Raiders, so many yards, not that many points, but a lot of yards in this game. Patrick Mahomes, 443 yards and 4 touchdowns. But LaShawn McCoy dealing with an injury. If that happens, bump up Darwin Thompson. Okay, moving forward, if the injury is something important. I told you, whether it was on this podcast or my waiver wire podcast, I told you about Demarcus Robinson. I told you he was going to have more targets Then Mecole Hardman, I was wrong. They tied. But I told you he was going to be a big part of this offense because he has Patrick Mahomes' trust. 6 for 172 and 2 touchdowns. Kelsey, 7 for 107 and a touchdown. Mecole Hardman, 4 for 61 and a touchdown. Sammy Watkins, he was the one with the off game, 6 for 49. But all these guys are tremendous. For Oakland, I don't blame you for playing Carr or Josh Jacobs or Waller or Williams, but they're just not good. I mean, they beat Denver, but Denver's not Kansas City. Kansas City's another level. But I do like Josh Jacobs. I think he's a special, special player. I do. All right, the Bears-Broncos. Oh, my God, what kind of loss is this? This is a monumental loss. Mitch Trubisky stinks. Let me just say this loud and clear. He stinks. 16 for 27, 120 yards. I mean, he averaged 4 yards a throw. 4 yards a throw. This guy's awful. Okay? It's terrible. They're going to run the ball with Montgomery. But, I mean, I feel badly for Allen Robinson. I feel badly for Tariq Cohen. I don't know if you could start your Bears outside of Robinson. I just don't know. For Denver, Joe Flacco does what he does. It's okay. Freeman and Lindsey split the carries, 13-11 in favor of Lindsey. Emmanuel Sanders was a beast. I was happy to see Royce Freeman in the passing game. That was unusual. I didn't expect that. Cortland Sutton came down to earth, 4 for 40. Noah Fant, 4 for 33. All right. The Rams against New Orleans. We mentioned this before. I thought Teddy Bridgewater looked terrible. But I want to get to something out earlier. There's no way the referee should have blown that ball dead. Call it a fumble and then review the play and figure it out. I got to believe that the Saints got screwed. Sean Payton is 100% correct. There's nothing more I could say about that. They should never have done what they did, and it changed the game. It did. It changed the game. Moving forward, Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray are going to have to get involved, and I think Teddy Bridgewater is just going to feed Michael Thomas. But, I mean, look, if I'm an opposing defense, I'm going to put 5 guys on Michael Thomas. What am I going to do? I mean, I can't let Teddy Bridgewater beat me, but I'm going to make Bridgewater beat me because I have to stop the running game. I do. For the Rams, I didn't like how Jared Goff looked in the beginning part of the game, but he played very well in the second half. Gurley looked good. Cooper Kupp, you know I love me some Cooper Kupp. Brandon Cooks looked good. Tyler Higbee's dealing with a lung injury, but they expect him to play. He took a big shot there. And finally, the Sunday night game. I was a little shocked to see Philadelphia not play so well, but, you know, look. Deshaun Jackson left with an injury. Alshon Jeffrey left with an injury. Dallas Goedert left with an injury. They lost by 4 points, and they had 3 of their best players not playing. Miles Sanders just has to break a play. This guy is 10 for 28. He's very hard to start each week, and he had 3 catches. I think inevitably he will be very good, but right now it's very hard to start him. I'm also worried about the Falcons' running game, too. Ito Smith, 4 for 32. Devonta Freeman, 11 for 22. Not very good at all, but you know who is good? Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. They are absolutely and unequivocally special. They are special talents. All right, tonight, Cleveland is playing the New York Jets, right? So we don't expect a lot from the Jets at all. We know the Jets are a train wreck. Maybe Simeon throws to Crowder. I don't expect a lot from Anderson. Le'Veon Bell is questionable. I think he does play, but how many carries is he going to get? How many touches? 20? Maybe 20. For Cleveland, I like Beckham. I like Chubb. I like Baker Mayfield. They are going to want to score a lot of points tonight. They're going to want to embarrass the Jets. I think they do. But time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Please check out fulltimefantasy.com. Enter the promo code ROTO50 for 50% off your first 2 months. And remember, check out si.com/fantasy for all great fantasy advice that we provide at Sports Illustrated. All right, guys, this is Dr. Roto saying be well and take care.
Thanks for listening to Full Time Fantasy. There's never been a better time to join and go full time. Visit fulltimefantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO50 for 50% off your first 2 months. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time.